I've done lots of videos talking about budget yarns and where to get them from, but today I'm going in the opposite direction and I'm going to talk about using the expensive or premium end of the market. I'm Simon Henry. Stay tuned for my honest opinion. So what do I mean by expensive yarn? So I think anything that is over £100 a kilo I consider the premium or the expensive end of the market. Today I'm going to look at these two yarns and give my honest opinion and if I think that they're worth the money. First one I'm going to look at is this one. It's from Untangled yarns, hand-dyed in the Scottish borders. This colour's called Breaking Waves. It's blue-faced and Corriedale wool 4-ply, 400 metres per 100 grams, which means 100 grams of this is perfect for making a pair of socks, which when I end up with just 100 grams when I'm testing yarn, that's mostly what I do with it rather than waste it. So the first thing you'll notice is it comes on a hank, which means that we have to wind it. So this is an ideal time to use either your manual or electric yarn winder. The way to do it is to either torture your husband or your grandchildren by making them sit with their hands like this, as I remember my mum doing when we were children, while you kind of wind the wool off. Or do what I do, either use a special thing for putting it on while you're winding it, or the easiest way, to be honest, is to put it over the back of a chair and just wind it off that way. So I've wound it already using a wool winder, and this is 4-ply, so I'm knitting these socks on 2.5mm needles. It is a really nice feel to it. It's difficult to explain what I mean by this, but it feels like a premium yarn. It actually feels like you're knitting with something that's expensive. It's got, on 2x2 rib like this, it's got a tremendous amount of stretch and the recovery is really good. And it is super smooth to knit with. It's got a nice little bit of what I call bite to it, which means it hangs onto the needles. When often if you're knitting on fine needles and it's a super smooth yarn, quite often the needles will just slip out of the hooks, of the loops. It's actually really annoying when that happens. And even on some really, really expensive yarns, I've given up when I've got to that stage because it really kind of drives me balmy. But this has got a nice amount of bite to it, meaning that it really hangs onto your needles well. This is, I believe, £10.95 for a 100 gram ball, meaning That's £110 a kilo, which is leaning towards the pricey side. I actually think it's well worth the money. If you were knitting a kind of medium-sized cardigan or jumper with it, you'd need about 800 grams of that, meaning you're going to be like, between 80 or 90 pounds in cost to knit a jumper. But as with all premium yarns, and what I say to people who ask, if you just sit back, use really good quality needles like I'm doing here, have a feel of doing something really premium and high-end, it really is a pleasure to knit with. So this, I would say, go ahead and buy it. For me, it's well worth the money. So the second yarn I'm going to look at is this one. It's from West Yorkshire Spinners. It's called the Croft, 100% Shetland wool, created by Sarah Hatton. It, at first feel, it felt a little bit coarse, but when I started to actually knit with it, I really loved it. This is says it's double knitting. It's actually feels to me ever so slightly on the thick end of double knitting. For 100 gram hanks, it's 246 yards, and again on a hank, so again you'll need to wind it. This is the same one, but in one of the variegated or tweedy shades. Same price. I think this was also £10.95. When I started knitting the sample for this video, as you can see, I got a bit carried away. I will end up knitting socks with both of these yarns. I will end up finishing the balls, but this was such a pleasure to knit with. I will definitely be buying this again. It feels gorgeous. It's got a nice bite to it, so it hangs onto the needles really well. This is one of my 48 stitch socks, which is perfect for double knitting. You'll see again the recovery in rib is really, really good. 100% wool, like I said, so it'll wear fairly nicely. Usually, if I'm going to knit socks, I'll have a small percentage of man-made fibre in, just so that the socks are a little bit stronger. But this feels like it will really last. So again, I would say yes, go ahead and buy it. For a jumper and cardigan, again, it would be between 80 and 90 pounds to knit. So, it's at the premium end, but it really is a pleasure to knit with. So well done, West Yorkshire Spinners. The only thing that I would say, I know a lot of people like to buy on hanks like this. It's kind of part of the high-end experience. However, it's a real pain. If you were doing a cardigan or a jumper and you needed to wind kind of 8 or 9 balls off, it would really get on your nerves. It would certainly torture the husband or the grandchildren, having to hold their arms out for that long while you're winding it. But that's a very small complaint about it. I would like to see it actually come on balls. And my pet thing, like I say to all of the yarn manufacturers, please make it so we can take it from the centre of the ball. It's only that I prefer to do that. I have had some people tell me that you shouldn't take yarn from the centre of a ball because it will abrase the yarn as you're pulling it out the centre. I don't quite know what they think is going to happen when you wear it, and especially as a pair of socks, they're going to get abrased enough. So I think just pulling it from the centre of the ball isn't going to make any difference to that. But that's my opinion. And so if you've liked this review, please share and like and subscribe. If you subscribe, you'll be notified when all of the other reviews videos come out. I'm about to do one also on the complete opposite end of this spectrum. I'm going to be buying really cheap yarns and seeing how they work up. So in the meantime, happy knitting, happy crochet. Somebody coined the phrase to me the other week, yarn smithing, and I actually really like that. I might stick to that. So happy yarn smithing, love as always, and I'll see you all very soon.